We didn't review the first. We didn't review the first 2 seasons of Reacher. We kept it to ourselves as a thing that we wanted to do.
It's just
It was, but at the same time, I really dig the show, man.
It's really good.
And now that we're at 3 seasons, it's kind of like a bigger version of what I always say. Let's give something 3 episodes. So now I'm like, okay, I feel like it's sticking around.
Yeah, I feel like even after this one, we'll get another one.
I'm okay talking about it now. Did you ever see the Tom Cruise one? The Tom Cruise movies?
I don't think so.
So I remember when I first saw the Tom Cruise Reacher movies, I thought to myself, this is a cool character. I had no clue what the books were. And I said to myself, what an interesting character, but he is such a small guy. I don't know why do I believe that Tom Cruise is this dangerous? You know what I mean? I don't.
I did see it, and that makes a lot of sense considering Reacher's all.
So that's how he's described in the books. I found out now, after the fact. I find out.
You didn't read it?
I've never read any of the books. But I found out a lot about him since because of the series. And so he's a big dude described as a mountain of a guy, just very myopic, very one note, very, I have a goal, I have my own whatever, and he roams.
He's a vagabond.
Right. Yes, that's a great way to put it, a vagabond. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. Those movies it was such a, but then you start this the first episode of the first series, and I remember Alan Ritchson. I only knew him from briefly a stint as Hawk on Hawk of the Hawk and Dove team on that weird short-lived Teen Titans or Titans show that was on Max for like all of a minute. And it's got Robin, it's got all these other characters, and then he plays Hawk, big dude.
Now you know this?
No, probably not. No, it wasn't. The show wasn't good enough for me to want to review it ever. In fact, it only made me mad every time I watched it. So then to see him in this,
then you're like, man.
Well, then you go back and you find out he's got roots in some of the stuff. He was in Smallville as Aquaman. He was in. Oh
my gosh, I watched Smallville.
Yeah, dude, he was Aquaman. He was nowhere near as big as he is now. But
oh my gosh, yeah, I watched Smallville.
What's up, my know-it-alls? Welcome to the show. We're talking, me and Mrs. Know-it-all here talking about Reacher Season 3. The first 2 episodes dropped on Amazon Prime, and I'm really, like I just said, we were thinking about, like, let's watch it and then let's talk about it. Mainly because we have this really nice new set that we're playing on, and I enjoyed this conversation.
Oh, I do too.
So I want to talk a little bit about Reacher and see what sort of.
Is anyone else watching it? I want to know if anyone else is watching
For real.
it too.
Yeah, comment below. Let us know if you're watching it, and if you're not watching it, why? It's such a good show.
You don't really have to watch the first 2 seasons.
You don't.
But they do a tiny, because they do a little small recap. Now, if you want all that action stuff and like how awesome Reacher actually is, then definitely.
Hey, Alan Ritchson is a beast.
Yeah, he is.
So every season they have done, I call it the cold open, where it's him doing something nonchalant, and then he, because he's very observant, notices a thing, and he goes and stops someone from doing whatever. This season, they put a twist on that.
I love the way they opened it this season, because it's like, and actually, to be honest with you, I'm glad the way they formatted the actual infiltration of what the job is.
Yeah.
I like the way they did it. We're not getting 3 episodes of explaining all the nonsense and then getting him to do it. No, they're just like, this was going down. Let's get to the action.
Yeah, and they really did a good. So this season they jumped it right into he's taking records to a vinyl shop.
Come on, where we live, we live 25 minutes from a college town, and we saw one of those.
Yeah.
So that was true.
It's true. It's very true. And then he goes and then he notices a pickup truck and a guy doing something, whatever. And he goes out, he does a thing, and he people are going out. He whips around, he shoots a dude, and it turns out that it's a police officer he shot. We're freaking out. He has to get this because he keeps his kid from getting kidnapped.
Right.
And so we're like,
this is how the cold open.
Yeah, we're like, oh, okay.
Kidnap it and all that nonsense.
Right. And so then he goes and he's trying to dump the kid, and the kid's like, you gotta take me home. He's like, no, man. He's like, I can't go to the cops. I'll just kill the cop. You crazy, this and that. He's like, my dad, he's got money and whatever else. And they go, he's like, what's your dad do? He's like, he sells rugs. Nothing seemed more suspicious.
You know, it's like those imported expensive roads that, $5,000 for an 8x10 square.
Yeah, totally. No, for real. So then he goes and he gets to the place, and we get our first glimpse at this big mountain of a dude who makes Reacher look small.
I didn't think anybody could make Reacher look small.
He makes him get out of the car, and Reacher gets out of the car. And they do that thing where you go over his shoulder, and he's looking. It reminds me of that scene from Back to the Future 2 when Marty's gonna talk trash to like future Biff's grandkid, and he's like, and you watch him look over his shoulder. That's exactly what it looked like in this, and I'm like, dang. And then we meet your boy who plays Beckett, the boss.
My boys,
Because he was on Psych as
true. He was
Lieutenant
Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah, from Anthony Michael Hall of Weird Science fame, who was Breakfast Club also.
Which turned 40 today.
Yeah, bro.
Okay, carry on. In memoriam.
When I told that to Mrs. Know-It-All, she looked like Sad Affleck. She was like her eyes were working, and she was like thinking it was. I was like, oh, babe. Anyway, yeah. So what? Okay. So overall, what do you like about the character of Reacher? Like, what makes you like him? Other than Alan Ritchson playing an amazing, he just does it right. He plays it right.
He's smart. I like the fact that he doesn't come across as, well, I can take care of this.
Right.
He does, but you wait here. That's how he says, I'm going to take care of it. It's like, wait here, I'm going to go, he's very chill. I love the way they wrote his observation skills.
Bro.
I love the way he's not so much observation, but maybe his logic.
He's not a Sherlock Holmes clone, which we see in a lot of stuff.
Right.
But he's just a very observant guy.
Because of his training.
Yeah.
And his training to that.
There's a moment where, because he needs
a software.
He was in the Army. He was an MP. He led the special investigation, the 110 Special Investigations Unit, which got a reputation under him as being like the best of the most elite investigators. And so, and eventually he leaves and whatever. That was actually what on the entire premise of season 2 was.
Was about the one time.
Yeah. So if you're
so
if you get a chance to watch it, I would definitely catch up, because if nothing else, you get the kind of backstory you're interested
of who he is.
Right. And or at least why he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like him a lot too. Again, Alan Ritchson does a great job, but he's very nonplus. He's very like the things in front of me make sense. You'll never hear Reacher go, I don't believe it. He's just like, okay.
He's like, that's par for the course.
Yeah, believe my eyes when what I see is what I believe. We're doing okay. This is what's happening. And then he's very quick to give his opinion. What I love is he's not quick to just give in to anybody.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Like when the FBI shows up at his hotel.
He goes out the window.
Grabs his toothbrush, call back to last season, and then this Bostonian FBI agent lady.
Where are you going, Mr. Reacher?
Who says my name's Reacher?
Says you registered as Rob Refschneider, but you don't look much like a middle infielder to me.
She's great.
I love her character so much. She's from Boston, and she don't take. She's almost like she's such a smarty,
bro.
I don't want to swear, but you got it. You can't help but love her because she fits his logic too.
Very.
But she's the one that says, I can't believe it.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, her character is pretty cool. She's emotional, which Reacher isn't, which is what makes this good.
But I feel like right in all the right ways.
All the right ways, yeah.
Because the thing is, he has conviction too.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't gloss it with all the emotions behind it. He just knows good is good, bad is bad. Bad people are bad people and deserve what they get.
Right.
Like the whole premise of this is because after that cold open we saw, you find out that a few days earlier, this is what was going down. And it is this whole little mini scene that would have been the cold open in the first 2 seasons.
Right.
Where he observes this kid peeping this lady who's got a kid. He's going to steal, and he sits next to her. And while he's schooling this kid on, here's $100, go get a job, don't try to rob people, whatever. He looks across the street and he sees somebody who apparently he killed a long time ago.
Right.
Who shouldn't be alive. And he's like, so he tries calling the 110. And they look up this car because he gets a license plate, which, by the way, you did too.
Nailed it.
couldn't believe it. I was like,
Well, oh, forgot the letters.
no, but you got
Got the number.
all that's right. And so then that, I guess, flagged the FBI. That's why they showed up. And he's actually a plant trying to get into this place.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I've never read the story. Some of the setup feels a little contrived at the moment.
Sure.
What story isn't, but at the same time, I feel like the former cop boss, what's his name? I want to say Dugan. It's not Dugan, but whatever. The black guy with who's in charge of security. He doesn't trust Reacher, and he's mean and crappy to him the whole time. And I'm sitting here going, why do you guys, just because he saved the guy's son?
Right.
And everyone, like, nobody trusts him.
But we find out why.
Yeah. You do find out why. And it's this
Are we doing spoilers? We find out why. It's because the character Beck, is actually under the thumb of
the real bad guy.
The real bad guy, which is it McCabe's or
that's the name he's going by.
Right.
That's not his real name.
Right.
Julian McCabe is the name he's going by.
Julian McCabe.
The real name is Quinn something or other, and that's
which
the name
is the one that
Reacher knows him by.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait for that because there was only we only got 3 episodes, which I'm okay. We get 3 episodes every Thursday or just an episode on Thursdays.
That's right. I know and different. It's gonna be different to the rest of.
Well, you gotta remember, we also binged watched the first 2 seasons, not all the time, but like when they came out because we didn't. It was just something for us to do, but it's gotten so good.
Well, it was something that we just felt like we wanted to keep to ourselves. But like you said, now it feels like it's. Yeah. We want to share it. That we love this with
for you.
Yes. And I felt like, honestly, in this new format of us just kind of talking and this very podcast style format, I feel like that it's a good opportunity for us to just kind of reflect on the show. Do all the same talking we normally do after having watched it. So what do you make of the kid?
He's scared. He's just been lost in the shuffle. I think after mom died, there was no mom there, obviously. Dad made billions in the process.
Yeah.
I almost feel like Dad buried himself in his work after mom died.
Sure.
Which makes sense. And then poor decisions happen. And now he works for what's his name?
Clint. And he was a rug.
Just a plain old rug guy.
He's a real rug guy who ships and has warehouses a whole bit. And he was bragging at the wrong party about all the different shipping lanes and fast ways of getting carpets, kind of like I can get things moved so quickly, blah, blah, blah. The wrong guy heard.
And then put pressure on him.
Decided I own
the company.
Right. He's like, I want those lanes. You keep doing business as usual, and I'm going to ride your lane. And you find out that the big security people are actually working for the bad guy.
Right, which comes back to his number 2 guy, Beck's number 2 guy who just hated Reacher from the beginning.
When they lock him in his room, and then Reacher proceeds to...
Which I think is so... I'm like, why?
And like, you hired him to be your security out of appreciation for what he did.
We're going to lock you up.
Yeah, we're going to lock you up. Before they give him the job, they make him do Russian roulette with his own gun. Which is this very conspicuous sledgehammer. Remember the show Sledgehammer? Like giant Magnum 357.
Yeah.
And it's like this big, huge, like a revolver gun. I'm like, what is this, the Old West? But because he knows where the bullet is in the thing, because later on you find out he marked it, he's all like, and the dude's like, oh my God, you're crazy, stop it. He gets the job. And that's what he needed to get in from the FBI. Unreal. This is unreal. And he swims like
what the heck?
Half a mile, however far to get away.
Something's gonna happen between lady friend and Rita. Let's be for real.
No, for sure. Yeah,
we called that like at the beginning,
especially because she was really on him about stuff, and I'm like, oh, yeah,
because she's much of the smart butt as he is.
Yeah, she really is.
It was and then he called in what's her name from last season.
Throw down with this guy, boss.
Hoping I don't have to. Guy's twice my size.
Last time I saw a guy twice your size was on Mount Rushmore.
Oh yeah, his
like his number 2 is nasty.
Yeah, the person who helped run the 110 with him.
Yeah, called her in to start investigating people.
And she's like, "What are you into?" And he's like, "Nothing, I'm good." And finally, she figured it out. And she's like, "Where are you at right now?" And he hangs up on her because he didn't want her to go bowling.
Dude, how about the phone?
Bro, this big
hides in the heel of his boot.
It was a meme. that showed Zoolander. 'Cause remember Zoolander also a
That's right. That's right.
and it had a teeny tiny flip phone, and it was a joke. But Reach is legit pulling a teeny tiny
But then
iPhone.
I'm also like thinking to myself, okay, Reacher's got big feet. He's got a big heel. That phone is in there, and he's got big hands. How small is that phone?
Good call. You're right. I can see that. No, you're right. Totally. You're right. That's hilarious. So you find out that the FBI agent lady, she's actually running a side op that has nothing to
this
do
is
with
totally
off the books.
Authorized.
It's her, a rookie, an older guy who's like days from retirement, and they're trying to find one of her former criminal informants, a CI, and the CI has disappeared. And so that's why Reach is in it for the dude he thought he saw. She's in it for the other chick, and they're like, let's work together and figure this thing out. And he's like, all right, fine, whatever. When Reacher, it goes to he's like, we gotta go work out, blah, blah, whatever. He goes to the gym, and you see the big giant dude.
You versus me. Let's go.
Oh man, what Paulie? I couldn't remember the name of
Paulie.
Paulie or Paul
And
or whatever.
They're gonna play.
He says name.
He's like, you want to do Dutch arm wrestling or something like that? And he's like, yeah,
Was
let's
it
do that.
Dutch or it was something
along those lines.
Yeah, you want to arm wrestle me?
And yeah, totally.
Let's see if I can do it.
And so he's like, all right, what do you do? He's like, you got to try to hold it. And he's really pulling hard. And he lets him go, and he goes,
Just your strength against mine.
Easy. Rickard and I fought.
Sorry. Hand slipped.
it's himself. It was the trailers. It's a great scene. And dude's like, and Reacher grabs
Grabs
the
a
weight.
weight, like-
It's just like, I was like, man.
And then I can't remember his name, but number 2, the gentleman, comes in as
This is totally. Reacher got like 3 hours of sleep in the first 2 days working with people. Every time he gets to his room, they're like, get up. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Trying to sleep.
There's work to do.
Only being lazy. I'm like, bro, he had slept as an 8 in 2 days. Come on. Then he gets sent on a job to go handle some evidence, and we meet Angel Doll.
He's actually kind of funny. I'm sad he's dead.
His real name is Angel Dole, which is a Spanish name, but everyone jokingly calls him Angel Doll. And it's like, bro. And he's like,
See, you failed to tell me that yesterday, so now today, this morning, now. Oh my God.
yeah, he's so erratic, and I love him. He's so like all over the road. You find out he's also former military too. He was all to this charge and went to jail for whatever, or went to the whatever court-martialed or something. I think he like essayed one of the female officers or something like that. So he was disarmed.
Him and number 2.
Yeah. And so they're at the impound, and they're looking into, because Beck genuinely is like, I want to know who went after my son. I want to know this and that. So they're going after the vehicles that Reacher
The
had
FBI's
used.
and were used, yeah.
And it's supposed to be non-trackable, but the thing is, if you dig too deep, you'll find these cars were part of arrests or something having to do with the FBI.
Right.
It's too much connection that if you're not careful, will suddenly lead you back down a path you don't want to go down. So Chicky's there trying to really quickly change, because because they made it sound like a grenade had gone off in the car.
Right.
And,
Because the boy called his dad.
right.
The boy called,
So you thought but there's no blood, there's no nothing in the car. The car's relatively clean. It was just
There's no car.
it was just like a concussion grenade. And so, which knocked out the bodyguard, and they're holding him hostage or whatever. The FBI are indefinite, whatever. It's bad. And the whole situation is like, you guys realize this is 100% the ends are justifying the means right at this point.
Right? Yeah.
So you hope everything's going to turn out right by the end of this.
Well, and the bodyguard of the son during this whole escapade this whole setup escapade, which they're holding hostage.
Right.
He's one of them. He's on Beck's, not Beck's payroll, but Quinn's payroll.
Yeah.
Scott's payroll.
Yeah.
What I liked is, okay, so you got to admit the frustration at the end of episode 3, which is we don't have any more.
Right.
Is the revelation of that Quinn is macabre, but it's Chicky, the FBI agent, that finds that out and has not reported it back to Reacher yet. And then the episode ends.
Well, I don't think they know that. I don't think she doesn't know that.
When?
Right.
That's
She just knows that to McCabe, but she hasn't like shown him a picture or anything to say. this
no,
is
not
about.
yet. And I can't wait until
Right.
Thursday.
When he finds that out, he's gonna lose his mind.
We might have to get up at 3 a.m.
No, for sure.
to watch episode 4.
I thought it was good. Ultimately, the show, I feel like it's in a good start. It's a solid show.
It wouldn't have had three. I don't think it would have had 3 seasons if it wasn't, because a lot of people get tired of the same story of these action hero things. I think sometimes it's the same thing, but I think because they're based off amazing books, which I've never read, which I probably should. Just saying.
I'll get the audiobook. Give me the audiobook narrated by Alan Ritchson. That's what I want.
Oh my God, that'd be great. What are you talking about? That's awesome.
That would be amazing. Ultimately, I feel like the show is going in a good direction in terms of just keeping us entertained and everything else. It's so funny because these shows last season felt bigger in terms of the stakes, but I like this. This feels like it's back to season 1 level of like smaller, more manageable deal.
Yeah.
And I do love the fact you still have recurring characters. He meets people. He has friends, though he doesn't know. He feels like he's a loner, but at the same time, he can call.
He really does. He can call whoever he wants.
Right. And he knows they're good people. Well, when he calls the 110 guy,
to look for her,
he's like famous to them. They're like, "Are you serious? Is this actually Major
looking at
Richard?"
your desk?
Yeah, totally. The big dent on the desk, and he asks him.
It's you put the corporal so and so's. Hey, so we're not looking at anything. Now it was a bowling ball. I'm gonna go. It was his head. I'll believe Reacher.
I love it. But yeah, no, it's good. I feel like the show overall is doing a really good job of presenting who he is. And it's just a good time. Amazon Prime. It's funny. Some things are hit and miss, but they're getting really good.
They're getting better at what they're putting out.
To me, it started with Jack Ryan. The John Krasinski period.
John Krasinski, yeah.
Jack Ryan was amazing.
And then you had me all up with Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time, which we're going to talk about later. We're in another video. We're going to talk about the trailers, the teaser, that 11-minute teaser that was like unbelievable. We'll talk about in another video. Yeah,
which we watched right before watching Reacher.
Hey, it was so intense, but it was good. I was really excited. So again, I'm excited for what they're doing. I know that Amazon Prime just announced that they have bought the rights, creative rights, from the family that owned them for James Bond. So a lot of people are concerned that they will make a series. I don't know about you, but I think that might not be a bad idea. I feel like there's been diminishing returns on the James Bond series over the years. Only because they've had like 79 movies or something ridiculous. I keep jumping to that number, but it's like stupid a lot of movies and James Bond movies over the years. And I feel like everyone's just ready for a new take on it. I don't think you go far from what it is. You don't need to make him all woke and stuff, but I feel like telling a longer story might have value.
I think they can still do the movies. See, I have any respect for James Bond because we watched, I'm going to say it wrong, Gentlemanly Ministry Men.
Oh, the Ministry of Gentlemanly Warfare.
That's it.
Yes, and you find you're right. Go ahead. No.
No, I have a different respect for the James Bond movies now that after seeing that.
Sure.
I think they should stay to the movies. Don't get me wrong, and maybe that's what they'll do. They'll make a movie and put it in theaters. And that,
Sure.
It's not like they couldn't do that.
No, absolutely.
But I don't think it would be a bad thing to keep movies, like if the theater, if studios wanted to keep the movie,
sure,
but then do an additional series,
right.
like how Star Wars has a Star Wars story,
sure,
a James Bond story,
sure,
and do like a season of a story.
Well, when you see stuff like Reacher that's super faithful to the material, you see stuff like the Jack Ryan series, which again very faithful to the material. People forget James Bond was based on a book series from a long time ago, and I'm not saying necessarily go back to the book series, the source material, because we clearly have an idea of who James Bond is. But I feel,
he's Brian could do that. I mean, that would
absolutely.
I think if they wanted to do it book by book, like they're doing with Reacher, that's not a bad idea. Keep the movies, because those are those new stories with the movies? Like somebody else wrote a new story for James Bond, or is it the James Bond movies that we see based off the book?
Casino Royale was based on a book.
Okay.
Was based on the original James Bond book. They are, so a lot of them are original, but it's based on that universe that they created. I don't know that they've ever really done direct adaptations. I think there've been lots of stuff informed by it.
Okay.
So like the Spectre is an organization that was in the books, but they did much more with them in the movies. So I feel like you could do an entire series based around that idea. Which they didn't really visit. They visited a little bit in Daniel Craig's run.
Okay.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess what I'm trying to say is when we see stuff like Reacher and we see the depth and breadth they're giving, the really fullness of not only money, but talent,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a universe in which they could really do a good job with James Bond.
I do.
So,
So too.
I don't know. I feel like there's, we'll figure
It's hit and miss with fantasy with Amazon Prime, I think.
It is. Wheel of Time is amazing. I think Rings of Power is
That's what I was referring to.
Rings of Power is a hot mess. I know that a lot of my viewers from Nerd Fights, they're like, you should watch it. You should watch it. I've tried.
I've tried to watch it with you.
It's just not good. It's just not good. It's not good. And at least to my sensibility and way of thinking, especially now that I find out the next season is supposed to be like a time jump closer to the war between the elves and the humans. Basically, they're building to the giant war of all of the whatevers. And I'm like, I don't know, man. The whole thing just feels very...
Well, when I say hit and miss too, also, when we talk like fantasy, Amazon also had,
I think it was Carnival Row. Carnival Row. With the fantasy creatures that we never revisited, but apparently they filmed.
They filmed, and then, there's 3 seasons, and we've only watched 1 because I feel like there was no. They didn't want to. I don't know. There was no like marketing for that.
Yeah, overall, I think again, I have very much faith because they're doing more good than anything bad.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I think it'd be okay to do like a James Bond story. If they do it like a Star Wars story, I think that'd be okay.
As long as it's not the Acolyte.
Every review is going to get the Acolyte out of your mouth.
It is! It's terrible. I can't do anything about it. Sorry, it's so bad. The problem is the Acolyte was, to me, was the height of just how you write stories badly. And then you have something like this that takes existing material but doesn't do it word for word, but is very honoring to the material, but still tells an amazing story. You see strong characters of many kinds, and I love it. It's just good. It's good, solid fun. I'm enjoying this.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
We watched 3 episodes already. There's 8. When do you want to come back and talk some more about it? Let's watch 2.
Okay.
And then we'll come back.
Okay.
And then we'll after the last 3 because that'll be the finale.
That sounds good. That sounds real good.
So you get 3 more reviews of this.
Yeah, that's solid. That's solid. And then of course,
so far, and I know you don't. I know we're not going to do like a know-it-all index, but right now it's writing a 10 for me.
Really?
Yeah, it really is. I'm really enjoying this, probably more than last season.
Okay. I liked last season because I felt like we saw more of his world. So that's why I liked last season more. But I also like the fact that this did circle back to the charm of season 1. It's just him. He's having to deal with some very
I
stuff.
think that's why but yeah, I know, that can fluctuate throughout the rest of the season. So that's why I was like, right now.
Well, they're talking about bringing his partner chick, the chick he called.
She's going to, I think
she's getting her own spin-off series.
See, on Amazon Prime, right? Mm-hmm. See, and that's where I think this is,
I think they're going to do good.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
People are worried that when they do James Bond, they're going to do like the Moneypenny side series or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know if you need to do all that.
I don't know.
But I feel like Reacher's characters are very compelling and you could absolutely do. And I don't have a problem with them doing that.
And it's funny. Speaking of characters.
Yeah.
You almost start to feel bad for Bob.
Yes, you do. You really do. Because you find out he's dude just muscled in, kidnapped his kid, held and has stolen his business.
Yeah.
And it's like,
So go watch it.
Yeah, for sure. Go check it out
with us.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Till next time. Never forget.
Everyone loves a know-it-all.
Bye.
Bye.